Coming up on the Paper Talk today, Marcus Rashford. Of course, we're going to be talking about Marcus Rashford, and it seems Erik ten Hag and the club have decided a punishment for Rashford for missing training on Friday after his pictured clubbing in Belfast on Thursday night. Also, we'll be talking a little bit about Rasmus Højlund and Alejandro Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes. Is there an issue there, or is it just paper talk? Let's find out. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's not spitting, it's raining. So make sure you've got your hoods up on your parkers. Loads of stories to get through, so we'll crack on. Before all that though, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. We want to get to 750,000 subscribers by the end of the season. And with your support, yes you, we can get there. The stories regarding Marcus Rashford, obviously, Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund, Bruno Fernandes, a little bit about David De Gea, Andre Onana, all that stuff. So we'll get into it straight away. Marcus Rashford, I'm going to get into him in a minute, yeah, because this keeps going on and on and on. So there's been a little bit of an update there in the papers this morning. But before I get to Marcus, let's talk about Rasmus Højlund, Alejandro Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes was quoted after the game. He gave an interview after the game yesterday, and he said about it was obviously a little bit of a dig at Alejandro Garnacho for that first half where we were 2-0 up and Garnacho hit the bar. Now you might go, hit the bar, no, he scored, but he could have played in Bruno. He maybe even could have played in Rasmus Højlund to make it 3-0. And Bruno alluded to that after the game. He basically was being interviewed, and he said we had chances to make it 3-0 in the first half, but everyone wants to score in games like this. Sometimes we don't get the best decision for the team. So he was sort of having a little bit of a dig at his teammate there, saying, look, we could have made it 3-0, could have more or less wrapped up the game, but we didn't get the best decision for the team. So having a hint that he thinks Garnacho's probably been a little bit greedy. Now, I don't mind that too much. I don't mind it when you've got a senior pro like Bruno, maybe letting a player know, come on, you should do better there, or you should be a little bit more selfless there. Because I like Garnacho, he's one of my favourite players. I think he's a fantastic talent, and he can score goals, he can assist goals, but sometimes he can be a little bit greedy. And I feel for Rasmus Højlund at times because he's getting himself in good positions, as did Bruno Fernandes yesterday, and just not getting the service. So even though I'd rather players spoke to each other rather than the media, I don't mind it too much on that front. Also, on the sort of Garnacho-Højlund situation, it's not a drama, so let's not make it one, but I think we've seen the footage, and the Mail have ran a story on it, of Rasmus Højlund screaming at Alejandro Garnacho when he didn't pass to him and then he lost the ball in the second half against Newport. I mean, they were celebrating together later on when, I think it was when Højlund got his goal, but you can see there that players getting a little bit frustrated at times with Garnacho, and even Anthony. I think some players are getting frustrated with him because both Garnacho and Anthony, they just want to get the shot off, don't they? That's all they're interested in. They're not interested in trying to play players in. They're not interested in getting assists or crossing the ball. They're interested in trying to get the shot off. Don't get me wrong, sometimes they do get assists and cross the ball. We saw that yesterday, but by and large, they're just trying to get the shot off, and it's something they need to work on, because I could understand it if they were both banging in loads of goals every week, but they're not, and neither's the striker. It's just not working when we see sort of two wingers who are inverted wingers shooting all the time and a striker who's not scoring as often as he wants. So something for the manager to look at. Maybe the players can help themselves as well, have a little bit of a conversation around that. Don't think it's a major drama, but it could end up costing us, and we need to sort it out sooner rather than later. Should we talk about Marcus Rashford? On the Marcus Rashford front now, the latest news, I think it's in the Metro and I've seen it in a few other papers as well, is that Marcus Rashford is going to get a £650,000 fine, a 2 weeks fine for missing training on Friday morning. Now, he said he was ill. Erik ten Hag was asked about it quite a lot yesterday. I think he was asked 3 times before the game and 3 times after the game about it, and he kept saying the same line: it's an internal matter. Now, you don't say it's an internal matter if someone's just ill. If someone's not well, you say, well, he's not well, that's the end of it. But it's obvious there's more to it, because we know from the report in The Athletic that Marcus Rashford was out Friday morning, early hours of Friday morning, and then declared himself unwell first thing Friday morning in terms of training. So, not acceptable. The manager's already spoke to him about going out clubbing, I think, after the Manchester derby. Bit different after the game. Before the game or before training, if you're not well enough to come to training, then it becomes an issue. And Erik ten Hag won't want to be getting question after question after question about disciplining players, about players not turning up for training, about Marcus Rashford being ill or whatever, about him going out clubbing in Belfast. It's not what a manager wants to be sort of sorting out or dealing with. And this is what Erik ten Hag had before and after the game. So the latest reports are that he's going to give Marcus Rashford a £650,000 fine, around 2 weeks' wages. That's what the Metro was saying, and a couple of other papers as well. Let me know what you think about that. Get involved in the comments. I think, personally, he needs to be disciplined, and then we move on. That's how you draw a line under it. You say, right, this is what you've done. This is why it's unacceptable. This is the club's punishment. Let's try and move on. Now, if there's going to be any fallout from this, I don't know. Is Marcus going to react in the right way? I don't know. Is Erik ten Hag going to sort of find himself in some sort of issue with Marcus Rashford, or is other players going to take Marcus' side? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm hoping, for once, we can maybe have a little bit of professionalism at Manchester United. You made a mistake. You did something you shouldn't have done. You got punished for it. We move on. That's what I'd like to see, because I don't want this to snowball and sort of become the situation like it did with Jadon Sancho, where it went on for basically months until Jadon Sancho went to Dortmund, and then it was resolved, sort of. Even after he left, there was still some fallout, wasn't there? Because obviously Marcus Rashford, I think, commented on a post and then was giving it that celebration, and then said that was because he'd been getting a lot of stick for commenting on Sancho's post. We can just do without all these issues. I wouldn't mind if we were flying at the top of the table and on for the treble or whatever, but we're struggling, and you've got players either going out clubbing, falling out with the manager, not coming into training. You just don't need it. We need to get Manchester United back onto an even keel, and hopefully we can draw a line on this and move on, which is what I'm going to do right now. A couple of other stories as well doing the rounds. Bit of an interesting one. With David De Gea, it looks like he could be going to Saudi Arabian team Al Shabab. Now, you might say, well, what's that got to do with Manchester United? He's not a Manchester United player anymore. But while he's a free agent, there's been lots of people looking at when Andre Onana's been struggling, going, well, maybe David De Gea can come back. He's not got a club. Oh, look, what's going on with David De Gea? He still lives in Manchester, all the rest of it. Looks like he's going to be going to Saudi Arabia. It's a bit odd that he hasn't got a club yet. I think he's been taking his time, to be fair to him. Obviously, spent 12 years at Old Trafford. Had a little bit of a break. Now he could be going over to Saudi Arabia. I presume earning lots and lots of money. I think the Mail are running this story. Big money in there in Saudi Arabia, so he'll be no doubt getting a massive payday. On the Andre Onana front, he should be coming back, and he should be available for the Wolves game, according to reports, because obviously Cameroon got knocked out of the African Cup of Nations in round 16, I think it was. He played one game out of a possible 4, and that was a loss. I think he played in a loss to Senegal. I think it was a 3-1 loss, was it? Didn't play in the game against Guinea. Didn't play as well in the... He didn't play in the last game he played against Nigeria, was it? Where they lost 2-0 and got knocked out. He didn't play in that either. So he was late for one game, dropped for another couple. There's 2 games he was dropped for as well. And then ended up, just all this drama and this debate about whether he was going to go, how he was going to get there, the fact that he played in the Spurs game, having to get this private jet to get to the AFCON. I think there was a delay with the flight. Then he did play. Then they lost. Then certain people were blaming him for some of the goals. Then he was dropped. Then he was talking of him having a fallout with the manager. It has just been an absolute shambles on Andre Onana going to the AFCON now. Don't blame him. I understand if you want to go and play for your country, but it's just not worked out, has it? Cameroon haven't done what they were meant to do, and also Andre Onana hasn't done what he was meant to do. And you just kind of think, well, maybe he should have just stayed at Manchester United. That would have solved a lot of problems, and we wouldn't have had this soap opera of what went on at the AFCON with him. Also, Bayındır was praised for the manager. He said he had a very good performance yesterday, put in a very good performance, words to that effect. I thought Bayındır did okay yesterday against Newport. I don't blame him for either of the goals. I think there were goals that defenders should have done better for the second one. The first one, I think it takes a bit of a deflection, long way shot, takes a bit of deflection. There was no way he could get there. Don't blame him. Decent performance. Yes, it was League 2 opposition, but as a goalkeeper, you can only save the shots that are coming at you. So a solid one, but I'm not quite buying into some of the things I've seen on social media where people are saying Bayındır should start, get Onana out of the team and all the rest of it. I know Onana's had a difficult start to his time at Manchester United, but I'd stick with him. I certainly wouldn't be dropping him because Bayındır put in a decent performance against League 2 opposition. I think that's a little bit crazy, if I'm being brutally honest. Anyway, we're going to be back later on. We're going to have the Paddock podcast, myself and Joe Smith. Going to be back with that and Ronaldo Brown as well, so make sure you're checking that out. Also, we've got videos up from yesterday, the post-match reaction from Stephen Alson and from Andy Tate and from me and Joe as well, doing a live review. So hit that look button. No, don't hit that look button. Hit that like button and subscribe and share. I'm Jay Moe outside a pretty wet Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.